Okay, I'm here to answer the question, how to make brown white wine sauce. We have brown red wine sauce that's in the index, and this is the opposite side of the same type of sauce. Now, we'll begin by putting some celery, carrots, and onions, the mirepoix, into a food processor real quick. And we want to make it nice and small because this is a quickly, more or less made sauce, and the reduction time doesn't have an hour to elapse, because if you leave vegetables in large pieces, it takes about an hour to get the flavor extracted from them. This reduction is only going to take place for 10 to 20 minutes. So first, we give it a quick zap. Okay, that's why we want them nice and small like that, you see? Now let's take a little bit of butter, put it in our saute pan. We're going to cook the mirepoix for a minute or two. Whoa! Let's cool that off with some veg. There you go. And we will add a little bit of dried leaf thyme and a little bit of bay leaves. Now it's at this point right here when you're making the sauce, this type of sauce, that if you want to make this a particular flavored brown white wine sauce, it's at this point here, or just at the point we're about to add the white wine, where you would add the additional thing like rosemary or tarragon or basil or a combination of whatever flavors you wanted, saffron, that you wanted to get extracted by the reduction of the wine. During the reducing period of the time, that's a good time to throw in something to create an infusion of flavor from that thing into your final sauce. So, okay. Now we will add a little bit of garlic to that. Like, let's say we wanted to make this a garlic white wine sauce. Maybe we add a lot more garlic to it, which is not why I'm adding more. This is about the right amount right here for just regular seasoning and flavoring. Okay, now we'll throw the white wine on, and I believe, and again, I'd like to remind you that when making a white or red wine reduction, the rule of thumb would be the amount of sauce that you want to end up with is the amount of wine that you should be adding to the sauce. So I have about a quart of white wine here. So I'm putting in that with the intention of making a quart of white wine brown sauce. Now I'm going to reduce that by 75%. We're going to time elapse this video demonstration, and we'll be back in a second. But again, let me just say that if I want to make a quart of brown white wine sauce or a quart of brown red wine sauce or whatever sauce that requires the use of red or white wine, one puts that amount of wine in as a rule of thumb in terms of how much wine should I use. If you want to make a cup of sauce, then you add a cup of wine to the reduction. Okay? So we're going to let that reduce, and I'll be back in, probably takes about 5-10 minutes to get this thing reduced. Okay, we're back right now, like I said, and the reduction, which has gone on for about 10 minutes for the brown white wine sauce, is about 75% reduced, which is the other rule of thumb in terms of the red or dry red and white wine reducing amounts. Typically, you reduce the wine by 75%. This, of course, eliminates the wininess, pardon the expression, of that might be created in the ultimate final flavor of the sauce. And that'd be the reason why one wouldn't add. Now, there you go. We've got a bunch of mirepoix here with some wine in it now, and that's it. And that's all nice and reduced as I spill it on the table. Okay. We're going to add some brown sauce to this. And we figured this for about a quart of sauce, so I'm adding about a quart of brown sauce to this. Okay, there you go. Now, we're going to let that simmer for a few minutes, and then we're going to strain that through a fine sieve. Okay? And so let's give that about 5 time-elapsed minutes, and we'll be right back right now. We're back right now, like I said, to the brown white wine sauce. This has been cooking for about 10 minutes, and you can see that it's a bunch of mirepoix now with some brown sauce and white wine in it with some garlic. And it's almost sauce consistency right now. So now we go to the final step of making the sauce, which is adjusting the texture and adjusting the seasoning, or, quote, finishing the sauce, which is what that means, okay? And it also may mean other things, but that's what it means most immediately, okay? So first, let's get the sauce strained through the fine strainer. The fine strainer, of course, will give you a finer, nicer, cleaner, smoother sauce. Okay. Now, it's almost sauce consistency, so we're going to just give that a little bit of reducing here. We're going to do a little bit more time-elapsed taping here on this. We're going to let this reduce for 3 to 4 minutes so it gets the sauce consistency. It's almost there right now, and we'll be back in a second, as in right now. We're back right now, like I said, and the sauce has reduced down to what I will show you to be sauce consistency, see? Look at that. Now, we're going to do what I call finishing the sauce. And one of the options that you have is to do what's called buttering the sauce. And that's done by adding 2 ounces of whole unsalted butter per quart of sauce. And since we have about a quart, let's put 2 ounces of butter in there, and we'll beat the butter in until the butter is completely absorbed into the sauce. As long as we're mixing so well, we'll add a little salt and pepper to it to mix it in, because it's going to need a little bit more seasoning here while we beat the butter in. Buttering the sauce, of course, is an option, and it has a way of mellowing the sauce, and it enriches it slightly, of course. Okay, that butter's right about in there now. I'm going to put a pinch of sugar in there, not to make it sweet, just more of the mellowing part of the final seasoning here. And it needs a little bit more salt. And still need some more salt. Now let's see what that sauce looks like on a plate. You can always know that testing your sauce on a plate will tell you what it's going to be like, because that's where it's going to end up on a plate. So putting some on a plate tells you whether or not you're happy with the texture, the consistency of the sauce, which I am in this particular case. This is a very nice sauce, and this is a good basic brown white wine sauce.